Okay, so kind of as like a continuation of the previous video, I wanted to kind of add in some kind of best practice type stuff to our editor utility widget. It would be the same thing for the asset action utility as well. We're going to stick with the widget. So I'm going to open that up here. Right here, just like it was previously. One thing we haven't done here is covering like undoing stuff. And in 5.6, there's this thing for like adding something to the undo buffer. But we're going to do it the way it works in the rest of the engine versions, which is using transactions. So if we go to our resize button here, and if you haven't seen this, just go back to the last video. It's kind of a lot of setup stuff. We're just going to do begin transaction, and you need to give it a context, which would just be like a name for it, and then a description if you want like something to be shown up inside of the Unreal undo menu. So if I go up here and go undo, it says move node, which I could do obviously, and undo moving the node. We're basically wanting to add the functionality to be able to undo something that our tool does. So begin transaction at the start of our tool here. We're just going to call this resize textures. And then I think this might need to be like that. It doesn't really matter. We'll make this resize textures. And then you don't really need a primary object. It even says right there in the tooltip. Can be null and mostly is. And then for each of the actual objects that you're modifying, you need to write a transaction so the engine actually keeps track of what is modified. So off of our texture 2D here, we can just do transact transact object. There it is. And we'll just put this right after our true, because there's no reason to mark an object for the undo buffer if we're not actually changing anything on it. So we'll just mark it like that. Save our, we'll keep our save there. We could also do save loaded assets like this. It takes an array. I prefer to do it one at a time. It is technically a little slower, I think, but in case the engine crashes in the middle of your tool running, at least you'll have all the ones that you previously, modified. If you did want to use the save loaded assets, you would just like take your selected assets, or if you were adding them to an array, what have you, and just plug that right in, and we could just put it at the very end. I've completed. I'm not going to do that. This is a mess anyway. What we are going to do at the very end on completed here, just going to do a reroute node. This is a mess of a... Yeah, this is a bit of a mess. Let's just move these nodes around. I kind of hate the helixing style like this, but for the sake of what we're doing here, it's fine. We just need to make the graph a little less messy. I do not yet have, I don't know if it's available yet, the Blueprint Assist plugin installed to 5.6. I would recommend to everyone buy that plugin. It's amazing. It just makes, you can like press F and all your nodes will just get laid out perfectly. It's real nice. So we're just going to do end transaction. And this will just complete our undo action. So then if we compile and save this and go back to our textures, and let's find some more ones we want to modify. We'll do this fence rope. Yeah, this is a 4096 by 4096. We'll do that one. We'll just run our utility widget. There it is. And we'll set this to 2048 by 256. I would change it to 256. That's a really small size. So what if I use this tool and then, I realize, oh, wait, that's way too small for this particular asset. you're working on a bunch of assets at once and you realize that there was some edge case you didn't think of. You want to be able to undo that action. So let's just do resize texture. It'll save it. There it is. If we open it up now, that is a really tiny texture. So if we just now go to edit, we can undo resize textures right there. And it will undo that. If we go back here, it is now once again a 4K texture. Super simple. Very, very simple way to just add in the ability to undo the actions that a tool takes. One other thing in here that I would like to add in is dealing with source control. This particular project is not connected to source control because it's just a test project, but even if you're a solo developer, you should probably be using source control in some way. Just get Perforce. It's the industry standard for a reason. And just set up a local server so you can keep revisions of your project. It's really painful to be working on a project by yourself and losing everything. Ask me how I know. So we're just going to pretend we're connected to source control. Using this node if you're not connected to source control shouldn't hurt anything. We're just going to do checkout asset. I think I should do it this way. Checkout loaded asset. That's what I'm looking for, not the path one. And we'll just put this right before our save. Because if you try to save an asset that isn't checked out, it's just going to ask you manually to check it out, and that's kind of a pain. So we're just going to check it out like this. If this fails, it won't stop the execution. It won't stop the saving. It'll just fail and be fine, and it won't matter. But if you are connected to source control, it'll automatically check it out for you. You could also, I believe, do a check-in. No, you can't actually. You can only do a check-out. That's interesting. That's probably for the best, actually. I was going to say, even if you could do a check-in, you probably shouldn't. Because you really want to get your eyes on these and make sure that what you modified is what you intended. Maybe don't be reckless with these tools. That's another thing. The kind of tools you can build with editor utilities are super powerful, but they can also be super destructive if you're not careful, which is super important to understand. I realize I might be saying the word super a lot. Oops. That's fine. So yeah, this is just a more complete, better practice way of modifying things like this with editor utilities. And we could add the exact same thing inside of our asset action utility version. I would do the exact same thing. It just allows you to undo things, check things out. This video is super short, so yeah, I think that's it. This is a very short one, but very important. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.